Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at something completely different. This is probably the biggest custom and certainly most ambitious custom that I have ever made and probably will. Of course, that is the God of Death himself, Sutekh, from the 2024 Season 1 finale, The Legend of Ruby Sunday and Empire of Death. Standing at just under 13 inches in height, he is scaled perfectly to go alongside the 5.5 inch Doctor Who action figures produced by Character Options. As well as the Sutekh, I have also created the possessed TARDIS with light up windows and the Doctor from the finale as well. Firstly, the Sutekh model. It was designed by the talented Lee Graham and it is designed to fit over any of the official TARDISes that Character have released. These files are available to purchase via Lee's Etsy store, which is linked below in the description. You can either buy a printed version from him directly, or like me, you can purchase the STL files and print them yourself. Taking a look at the detail, and if we start at the head sculpt, it is sensational. Like, I genuinely mean it. It is incredible. It looks identical to how Sutekh appeared in the Season 1 finale. And to start with, I sprayed the entire body part, so that's the head, the arms, and the body on the actual main sculpt, in a very dark grey. And then I went in with a few lighter greys and a black to bring out some of the detail. This was just dry brushed on, just to highlight some of the details, especially around the snout of the nose and the ears. I mainly did this because with it being such a big piece, I didn't want it to be one base colour. I wanted it to look like a premium product. And taking a look at the sculpt, you can see the gold mask-like thing that he wears. It's sculpted really well. It made it so easy to paint on. However, it wasn't very clear in the episode, but when looking at a couple of stills early on in Empire of Death and for the cover of Doctor Who magazine, it was clear that Sutekh does have like a gold trim around his ears, so I painted that on for a bit of added accuracy. And whilst I'm talking about the gold paint apps, I also did the neck bangles, like his necklace part. I painted that in the same metallic gold, and once I'd done all of the gold, I went over it with a black wash and then I gave it a gloss finish. So it looked a bit metallic, and actually taking a closer look at the neck area, you can see the hieroglyphics and other ancient Egyptian text, and obviously you can see that with the black wash that I added. For the teeth, I originally painted them in an off-white before giving them a heavily watered down yellow wash before going over the top with a lighter grey. I'm glad I did this as I don't think the God of Death suits pearly white teeth. And as for the eyes, I opted to paint them in a bright red. I did have a bit of a play with the metallic, but for some reason it didn't seem to look right. I might go back and see if I can get a pearl red and dry brush some of that over the jewel part, but for now I'm quite happy with it just being bright red. Looking at the rest of the body, you can see that I used the same base grey and did the same dry brushing on the hands, which again, I'm shocked at how much detail you can actually get into a hand. But looking at the rest of Sutekh, this had to be printed in multiple smaller parts because my 3D printer isn't big enough for something this scale. Shock horror. Like everything else, I printed it in a grey PLA plastic before gluing it together, and I used a bit of filler just to remove any obvious seam lines. It's not perfect, but it's the best that I can do. And then for the cloak, I sprayed it in a silk matte black, so it looked visually different to the rest of Sutekh, and I'm quite happy with how it looks. There is actually a colour difference in hand. I don't know how well it comes out on camera. And then like I did with the body, I did a bit more dry brushing, but this time I used different shades of greys, a couple of browns, and some sandy colours just to bring out some of that detail, especially around the base. And if we take a look at the TARDIS, this was downloaded using a file that I found on Thingiverse. I then went into the file itself, hollowed out the entire inside so I could print it in a translucent red filament. When doing this, I also printed the light in a translucent blue. I chose to do it this way because I didn't think that just painting the windows red would look as nice as how they look in a printed translucent colour. As you can imagine, the TARDIS has had to have many layers of paint, including additional texturing, just so that red light doesn't bleed through anywhere, but I'm so happy with how it looks. Also, to go along with Sutekh and the TARDIS, I created the 15th Doctor from Empire of Death, where he wears the white t-shirt and the green cargo trousers. For the body, I used an Earthshock android robot torso and the legs off a primeval soldier figure, with some additional sculpting of the trousers, the belt, the t-shirt collar and the whistle. It's a good little representation. It's not perfect, but it was a very last minute custom. For the head sculpt, I used an incredible 3D printed sculpt that was designed by Gallifrey Customs. I use a lot of his stuff all of the time. Most of my custom parts come from him. And as you can see, the likeness is stunning. And also the arms were designed by Gallifrey Customs as well. Like I said, it wasn't one I originally intended to do, but obviously as I can't display Sutekh in a cabinet because of his sheer size, I've had to display him on top, so it's nice to have the Doctor stud with him. And that's all there really is to say. Again, a massive thank you to Lee Graham for the files. They're available to order from his Etsy store, like I said. Do check him out. I'm sure you can agree that Sutekh looks phenomenal. I just hope my paint apps have made it look as good as it actually is. But I will be back in a couple of weeks with some more reviews, and let me know whether you'd want to see a few more custom showcases like this one, as it's always fun to show off my work aside from the usual Instagram posts. If you have enjoyed this video, feel free to like, comment and subscribe, all the usual stuff, and I shall see you soon for more Doctor Who action figure related videos. Bye for now.
You win! Because I pride myself that I am better than you. Because if you're dead, then I must represent life. Surely that's what I am. Life!